Oh, jeez. What?
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sports Minute. I am Ace, and then I am joined tonight by, that's right, we changed his name. He is now called Bulldozer. How you doing tonight, my man?
Hey, you guys call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. I'm doing good. Watching the Twins destroy Seattle right now, but it would not surprise me if they come back and lose. So,
Yeah, I think it makes
a great day.
Yeah, I was to say it must make you pretty excited that the Twins are winning, right?
For now.
For now. All right. And then, of course, we have none other than J-Mac himself here. How's it going tonight, J-Mac?
It's going pretty good. I'm glad Phil is with us tonight backstage. So we're having some fun tonight. Let's keep having some fun. Let's have some fun and get it done.
Absolutely. And so we want to welcome in our first viewer tonight, of course. She goes by Christy Wilson. How are you doing tonight? We're doing great. And yes, I'm right there with you. I'm actually keeping an eye on the Jazz and Clippers game as we speak at the same time. However, we actually will not be talking about the NBA playoffs tonight. That is on the show that Speak Out that you can actually watch that, but we did that yesterday. So without further ado, everybody knows that every Wednesday we cover a top 5 quarterback lists of an NFL team of all time. We're actually down to our final one. We finally gotten down to our final team. Man, so it's been 32 weeks of this, and we're finally there. We finally reached the final one. And guess who that final team is? That's right, it's none other than the Denver Broncos, the top 5 quarterbacks of the Denver Broncos of all time. When you look at this list, it was kind of interesting because there was like 3 names right off the bat that when I think about it, they immediately popped into my head. And one of them, I was kind of teetering back and forth that should I put him at number 1 or should I put him at number 2? Because there's 2 names. There's 2 names in Denver that are huge. And Bulldozer, you probably know where I'm going with this one because they both have rings, and it's like, okay, which one should go 1, which one should go 2? But I'll go ahead and I'll start with you on this one, Bulldozer. So your top 5 Denver Broncos quarterbacks of all time.
Well, I'm going to throw a little twist in there. We all know, I think Elway is by far the top guy.
Oh,
so
wow.
I didn't even. I'm going to make him A1. I went with 5 different quarterbacks. But because after looking at everything, it's like anybody that doesn't put Elway number 1, might be a little out there. So Elway is my ultimate number 1, but I did go with 5 different names to rank. So first off, I'm going with Kyle Orton. His record was 21-12, 8,000 yards plus 49 touchdowns, 28 interceptions. I put him in there because I think he was a reliable backup, and he came in and he did what he had to do. He didn't over pursue the drive. He just made the right reads, I would say. So that's why I got him number 5. Number 4, Jake Plummer. He got 1 Pro Bowl there. He was 39-15. Just under 12,000 yards passing, 71 touchdowns, 47 interceptions. He did take him to the playoffs a couple times. Unfortunately, he was 1-3. Then we got Brian Greasy, who had a Pro Bowl, a Super Bowl as a backup. Just a little bit above 500 with 27-24 record. 1,100 yards, 71 touchdowns, and 53 interceptions. Again, a guy that just did what he had to do when he was in there. Craig Morton, 41-23. Again, just under the 12,000-yard mark, 74 touchdowns, 65 interceptions. Oh, excuse me. Took him to the playoffs a few times. 2-3 record. And then my number one outside of Elway, I just want to make that clear. I think Elway is still number one. Peyton Manning. The times he was there, he went to 3 Pro Bowls, got the Super Bowl, 45-12, 17,000 plus passing yards, 140 touchdowns, 53 interceptions, 5-3 in the playoffs with another 2,000 yards passing there. So, like I said, Elway is my ultimate number one. I wanted to do a little twist here and not include him in this list, though.
So let me ask you this: how close? So you said it wasn't even close with Elway, right? With Elway and basically Peyton Manning. So you're saying between Elway and Manning, it wasn't even close.
Exactly, not even close. Elway owns every record that the Broncos have, and I don't see that being broken anytime soon. So to me, Elway was elite of the group here.
All right, J-Mac, how about you? You're on mute, my man.
Let's see, what do you got? You got Craig Morton at 5, 11,800 and some yards, 74 touchdowns, which is third on the team all time. Yep, that's Craig Morton for you. Then 4, I think you got Jake Plummer. Jake Plummer, 71 touchdowns. And Jake Plummer was, 39-15 as their starter. And then promptly retired because he didn't want to play for Tampa Bay. Then you got Brian Greasy, who was second all time on the team in passing yards until Peyton Manning showed up. Until a guy named Peyton showed up there. 71 touchdowns, 53 picks. He was 27-24, so that hurts him a little bit as far as the percentage, but nonetheless, he did pretty well there. Number 2 is Peyton Manning, 17,112 yards, 140 touchdowns to 53 interceptions. So, astounding numbers there as far as that goes. And we know the Super Bowl. We know his winning percentage was .789, which is the highest in franchise history. Then you had John Elway. What can you say? 51,475 yards, 300 touchdowns, 226 interceptions. Much more on the ground. He was a running guy, too. He got him 2 Super Bowls before he retired, which puts him at number 1.
Well, yeah, and I was going to think, too, when you think about the running style quarterback, Peyton Manning, when he was with Denver, there was no way Peyton Manning was running because he was up there when he got up there in age. That's when he ended up with the Denver Broncos. So there was no way that Peyton Manning was going to ever be a running quarterback with Denver. So I didn't even count that stat, not even relatively close. But when I look at my top 5, Morton, I put at number 5. And simply because Morton, he wasn't what you call like an excellent quarterback, but he was he could be more like a bridge quarterback to kind of get you through, but he wasn't gonna be that superstar quarterback. And then number 4, Brock Osweiler. And the reason I'm completely kidding. Brock Osweiler is not number 4. That was complete garbage. I was not going with that. Number 4, I actually went with Jake Plummer. And I thought that Jake Plummer was actually a decent quarterback. I actually knew quite a few Broncos fans when Jake Plummer was there. And some of them were actually kind of big fans of Jake Plummer. Now, Big B, or I should say Bulldozer, do you think that he got a fair shot when he was with Denver?
Plummer?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy just won. I mean, what was his record? 35
39-15, yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah, but people were saying he never should have been replaced.
Exactly. No, he shouldn't have never been replaced. I mean, you want to win, and unless you're getting a guy like Favre, Rodgers, Manning, Wilson, 39-15. That, to me, that's my starting quarterback, unless I got somebody coming in that's a bigger name and a better winning guy. So, yeah,
Mhm.
he should never been replaced.
And that's kind of where, the Broncos fans that I knew, they liked Jake Plummer, but I don't know what it was. Like, for some reason, Denver just was not really all that high on Jake Plummer, but all he did was win football games. So that's what made me so confused that I'm like, why would Denver just get rid of Jake Plummer and just and replace him when all he did was win games? But obviously, when you look at, your 1 and 2, this is where my thing was that I was kind of confused. And I know Bulldozer and J-Mac, you guys are saying it's not even close when you're comparing Elway and Peyton Manning, because I know that Peyton wasn't there for even nearly as long as John Elway was. And I'm not taking anything away from what John Elway accomplished, but it was kind of interesting too that I actually read somewhere in an article when they were talking about the NFL. I could not believe that this article actually stated that John Elway was one of the most overrated quarterbacks of all time.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it came out and said. Now, do I agree with that? Absolutely not. But they were saying, look at Elway's defense, look at Elway's offense. And so that's why they were saying, they truly believed that he was one of the most overrated quarterbacks of all time. J-Mac, I'm going to start with you on this. What do you think about somebody coming out saying that Elway was an overrated quarterback?
I wonder if they were drunk when they wrote that article. Or if they can't read, or if they really don't understand what it takes to be a professional quarterback, especially in that rank, and a guy that led a team to, how many Super Bowls was it? 4, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was 4.
And so, I mean, think about that. The guy that led your team to 4 Super Bowls, you're going to say he's overrated?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely not accurate. Definitely not accurate.
Yeah, and so to me, I like what Peyton Manning did when he was there, but I do agree with you guys that you have to put Elway at number 1 because simply of what he accomplished in Denver. Taking nothing away from Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning also had, you got to look at that too. When Peyton Manning won his ring in Denver, that offense had nothing to do with it.
Oh, that was a defensive Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly, that was. Because Denver's offense had absolutely nothing to do with that Super Bowl win whatsoever. That defense carried Peyton throughout that whole Super Bowl. So, technically, without Denver's defense, Peyton Manning doesn't have a second ring. But do I still say he's better than Eli? Absolutely. I'll still tell you he's better. But I've got Peyton Manning at number 2 and then John Elway at number 1 for Denver Broncos quarterbacks of all time. So when we talk about our top 5 list, we were all a little different. A majority of us had the same things, like Morton in our top 5, and then we had Jake Plummer in our top 5, and Peyton Manning and Elway. I just kind of wanted to joke around a little bit when I said Brock Osweiler, because I know how everybody feels about him, and I wasn't a fan of him also. But I will tell you this, though, about Kyle Orton. I actually feel Kyle Orton was actually a decent quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was. Kyle Orton was decent. Even when he left Denver and went to Chicago, Kyle Orton wasn't bad. I mean, I know he kind of jumped from team to team to team, in Kansas City and Buffalo and Denver and Chicago and yeah.
Didn't Orton lead the Bears to the Super Bowl before he left? And then
no, that was not Kyle Orton. That was actually Rex Grossman.
Yeah, but I thought Orton got in there quite a bit because Grossman got hurt.
Orton did not lead them to the Super Bowl. He did not. That was Rex Grossman. That was the year where Chicago's defense was like really, really good.
Yeah.
And Rex Grossman was their quarterback, and Rex Grossman is horrendous. So that shows you what a good defense can actually do. But Kyle Orton actually was not bad. If you remember, the trade that went down was Kyle Orton played for Denver at that time, and the Chicago actually traded for so Kyle Orton Kyle Orton at the time actually played for Chicago. Chicago wanted Jay Cutler. So that's when Chicago traded Kyle Orton to Denver, and then Chicago got Cutler. And then Orton actually went to Denver and actually started winning some games, and then they let him go. And I'm like, why are you letting the guy go? He actually can win. He can actually win football games. Yeah. And so Christy Wilson saying no Tebow. No, you can exactly. No, you can't put Tim Tebow in your top 5.
I mean, Tebow was another guy too that I believe that he was meant to be a backup. I don't think he was a starter. And maybe he didn't get a fair shot, but he's a guy that didn't do much. I mean, he could run, so. But
Tebow, remind me.
Tim Tebow, exactly.
Isn't that the guy that plays tight end for the Jaguars?
He does now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. Tim Tebow.
I'm not sure why we're putting him in conversation to be a quarterback, a top 5 quarterback.
Well, you have to think a lot of people are actually fan of Tim Tebow. They were actually rooting for Tim Tebow when he was there. They wanted to see him succeed. They were completely happy because he led Denver to the playoffs and managed to win a playoff game, when he was quarterback.
Wasn't that against
for Denver. And that was against Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, wasn't that against Manning? But
that was that upset win in the playoffs. Yeah. And nobody was expecting that. But then you got to think what happened his following week, like when they played New England, and they just got absolutely steamrolled. Now, Will, I see some comments coming in here. So we have Isaiah who's saying, "What's up, guys? Just checked in to my hotel from Globe Life Field and Jerry Jones. Congratulations. I'm glad you're talking about Jerry Jones." Yippee. Thank you, Isaiah. Will Polson saying, "Leave my Bears out of this." Hey, I had to. We were talking about Kyle Orton, okay? Kyle Orton wasn't horrible. And you got Jay Cutler instead of Kyle Orton. Are you kidding me?
21-12 with the Bears, so...
Yeah, Kyle Orton actually won football games. Jay Cutler was horrendous.
Yeah.
All right, and the Randy Cox is saying, "What's up, guys?" Will Polson, "Don't ever talk bad about Rex Grossman." How can you not talk bad about? I was talking bad about Rex Grossman. I'll sit here and talk bad about Rex Grossman all day long. I'll talk bad about him. The dude is completely trash. He's garbage. He's junk. Rex Grossman was irrelevant on that Chicago Bears team because of how good their defense was. And then what happened? He got replaced as quarterback. He goes and plays in Washington, and he sucks in Washington. So congratulations, Rex Grossman. So, of course, I'm going to talk bad about Rex Grossman. And then Randy Cox is – huh? You're on mute.
You might say he was gross, man.
Exactly. He was gross. And then Randy Cox saying, "Who cares about Tebow?" And then Isaiah, "Kyle Orton was actually good. Don't know why he gets a bad rap."
He didn't have the stats.
That, and you got to think he was kind of that journeyman. He's kind of like Ryan Fitzpatrick. He kind of just jumped everywhere. So that's why he kind of gets that bad rap, because of that simple thing, just jumping everywhere. He was that guy. You could almost call him a bridge quarterback, because you could bring in Kyle Orton and be like, "Oh, you know what? We just need a guy just to get us through one season. Kyle Orton's going to be that guy, and then we'll draft our quarterback or trade for our quarterback." That's who Kyle Orton was.
Yep.
So he always had that bad rap.
Yep.
And then, of course, Will's like, "How many passing yards do you have, Ace?" That's right. I have 0, so I have that perfect passer rating going right now. So
are we counting Madden?
Well, yeah. So Madden, I have plenty of yards on Madden. And it's okay. Okay, I understand that Rex Grossman made the NFL, but he still wasn't a good quarterback.
Or just not by the right system. I mean, we never know.
And then Christy Wilson was saying Grossman was the weak link for the Bears. Absolutely, because I truly will come out and tell you now that if Rex Grossman was not the quarterback for the Chicago Bears the year that they played the Indianapolis Colts in the Super Bowl, Chicago probably wins that Super Bowl. If you have a better quarterback, Chicago probably wins.
Well, what year was that? That was what year did they go to the Super Bowl?
And then Casey King is here. That would have been 2000. What was that? Was that 2007, 2008? It was somewhere on there.
Okay.
And then Casey King was saying, "Good evening, guys. Rex Grossman was a joke, and seems Bears have been cursed at quarterback for years. Yes, they have. All right. So now we're going to dive into our second topic of the night, which is Rory McIlroy says greens readers should be banned in PGA. What do you think? And thank you, Will, for elaborating on that. Yes, it was 2006. So he's coming out saying that PGA golfers should not be allowed to use green readers. It should kind of go back to how it was before, and the good old golfing days are like when you see us on the golf course. You know, we go out there, we try and golf, and we have to try and read the green with our eyes. We have to sit there and go. Okay, you know, we have the slope going. It slopes, it goes up, it goes down, it goes right, it goes left. And so now Rory's coming out saying that it should be banned. Now, I know it kind of gives that advantage to everybody because everybody has it, not just one. But J-Mac, I'll start with you. What do you think? Do you think it should go back to good old golf and ban these green readers, or do you think they should actually be allowed?
I mean, does it really help your game that much? You still got to be able to putt it the right way, knowing which way the slope is. So if you're a professional golfer, you should know how to putt already. So I don't know if it really helps you that much. I mean, let them do what they're gonna do. I guess it's not a big deal. Still got to be able to drive. You still got to be able to have your approach. You still have to be able to putt.
Yeah, but when you're talking about that, though, I feel like if you have a green reader, you're not playing legitimate golf. I'm telling you, I don't think you are. Like, I think that you should have to go out there and read your own green with your eyes.
Well, okay, but
tell you.
What's the difference, though? Seriously, tell me. Like, explain to me what the difference is. You're telling me that it's not like the putter is an automatic putter that is going to hit the ball exactly the way that it says you're supposed to hit the ball. You still have to hit the ball the right way. There's still a human element behind the putt on the green. So,
but it tells you the slope. With us, without having the green reader, we have to sit there and try and read it and say, okay, it goes right, it goes left. The green reader will tell you and say, hey, you got to go, it goes this way or it goes this way. So it tells you. But for us, we have to see it with our eye. And so that's why I'm saying you got to go back to the good old golf. It's like when you have these range finders on the golf course. They even use those. And I don't even think that they should be allowed to use the rangefinder. I think it should be good old-fashioned golf where you have to go out there and figure it out for yourself. That's the good old golfing right there.
Well, everyone's entitled to their opinion. And you're going to have the purists. You're going to have the... I just don't think it helps you that much. That's my personal... I really don't think it does. I don't think a green reader helps you. Again, it's not like you're just being like, all right, club, hit the ball for me.
No, I'm not saying it does that, but it tells you which way to go.
I understand that, but you could easily have a caddy do the same thing. You could easily have a caddy say, "Well, that's a 56-degree angle, so you need to turn your club." I mean, I get that that's different; it's a human element, but it really doesn't help you to hit the shot any better. You still have to perform. So,
all right, I'll go with Bulldozer. What is your thoughts on this?
I mean, they're letting everybody use them, so it's not like they're, against the rules and everything, but I think J-Mac makes a great point. I mean, yeah, it can tell you all the information, but you still have to go hit it at the right speed, at the right angle, right force to make it go in. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. Use your caddy. Matter of fact, when you brought it up, I even had to go look to find out what it was because I always, have to read about it. I thought the caddies did all that. I didn't think there was a green finder, or green reader, for that stuff to tell you the hole and stuff. So,
you know why? It's because we play straight up golf. That's why. Because I'm going to be a guy that goes out there and plays straight up golf, and I'm going to tell you, okay, I'm going to use my 2-iron, I'm going to use my 3 or whatever, my 4. and it doesn't matter to me. I don't want to use any devices. I want to go out there and play straight up golf. That to me is what golf is about. You don't need to use technology. It should be about the human mind. That's honestly what it should be about. When you start inserting all this technology into all these games and stuff, it really takes the fun out of the game. And so that's why I enjoy golfing so much.
You still have to be able to hit the shot, though. That's my only point.
No, you do have to be able to hit the shot. But to me, if I'm gonna miss the shot, I would rather be like, okay, I missed the shot without something telling me that I needed to go right or I needed to go left. At least I'm like, hey, I missed it by having to guess it myself without something telling me which way I had to go. And so that's why I would feel prouder about that and being like, hey, I'm trying without using something in somewhat of a cheat code because it's telling you which way to go.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I had no arguments against it. I mean, we're on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and sometimes there's no coming into the middle, and so I just don't think it helps you as much as everyone is freaking out about and thinks it helps. That's my only point. I don't think it helps you. You get a rangefinder that says it's 180 yards. Personally, you thought it was 190 yards. So you're going to club down and then hit the shot wrong, but you're going to blame your range. Yeah, I mean you're gonna blame your rangefinder for telling you the wrong distance. I just don't think it helps you that much. It's good to know.
And so that's all I'm saying. Like I see both sides though. I can see both sides also, and I get that. But to me, I just don't think. I think it's a non-issue, to be completely honest. I don't think it's something we need to be talking, not us, but I don't think it's something that Rory McIlroy needs to be worrying about what other people are doing. Guess what? You want to beat other people? Go out there and play golf.
Yep.
No, he is, because he said he doesn't want to use them because he doesn't believe in it. So he's coming out saying it should be completely banned for anybody to use it.
I mean, he must
how
be.
Long have they been around? I mean, you know.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this, Bulldozer. I'm going to ask you this just really quick, okay? So let me say, if you had an opportunity to buy a green reader or to buy a rangefinder for the golf course, would you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, just, because my game is so off the charts that, it doesn't mean I would throw it against the wall if I didn't make a putt. I mean, like J-Max says, we can have all the information in the world that it goes left, goes right, it's a 2-degree slope or whatever. You still got to make the putt, So, just because I know that information, if I can't hit it at the right speed or the right force, that's on me, no matter how much information I have.
Go ahead, J-Mac. It looked like you want to say something. So
I was just going to say, the only thing I agree with what Byron is saying right now is you still have to make the putt. So, yeah, if I have something that tells me, hey, it's a 2-degree slope to the left, that's one thing. Now, if I have a device that tells me it's a 2-degree slope to the left and it shows me on a laser exactly where to line up my putter on the green to hit it into the hole, that's a completely different situation. So I just think that it's not as big of an issue as Rory McIlroy's making out to be. You don't want to use one, don't use one.
Exactly.
I mean, for me, it's like guys with batting gloves in baseball. Like, they say, whatever, if they got stick 'em on them, the better. It's pine tar, helps you grip, whatever. Okay, so if you want to use pine tar, use pine tar. I don't want to use pine tar, I'm not going to do it. And to me, it's the same as this. It doesn't really help you enough to make a difference, in my opinion. That's it. Like, it's not actually something that goes out there and hits the ball for you.
Yeah, I think he's just coming out saying that all these changes that are going on is changing the game. And I think that that's kind of the statement he's trying to make, is that it's changing it. But does it really have an advantage? I mean, probably not. The only thing I'm saying is that it can tell you, go left or go right. I think that's really the only advantage that it really gives you. But I mean,
no, and I see your point. I'm not arguing that point at all. I just think that it's. So I guess the way I look at it, say I was this guy trying to win a bunch of tournaments. I'm ranked 18th in the world, and I'm like, oh, the guy ranked 17th right above me uses a green reader. I don't think he should be allowed to use that, and he's one spot above me. And I'm not good enough to pull my game up to get back up over him, but I'm going to blame his device, not my game. I think that's part of it for me, too.
All right, so before we wrap up this topic, Big B, is there anything else you want to say on this?
No, I think we covered it. That no matter what we have, unless the putter's doing the putting for you, we still have to make the putt, no matter we know the dimensions or the layout or not. So that's all I got.
All right, so now we'll go ahead and jump into topic 3 here. And topic 3 is because of all this contract debates that are going on around here, and people are saying, will this guy be traded or will he not, or will they release the player if he wants to be released? So here's my question for you. Do you honestly believe if a player gets signed to, let's say, a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal, that he should have that option after the first year or two to be like, you know what, I don't want this contract anymore. I just want to opt out and just not do it anymore and test the free agent market. Should he have that opportunity, or should it be strictly on the team? And Big B, I'll start with you on this.
It's tough because it doesn't go both ways. Because the owners themselves can, in most sports, I should say, I don't think baseball they can just release them and contracts over. But like football, players can get released and, they might have a cap hit, after a certain day or whatever. So that's why they don't do it. But if it's not going to be both ways, then both sides should honor the contract 100%. You sign a contract for 4 years, you go out and play, 5th year, you play better, you get more money, you play less, you're going to probably have to fight for the same contract you just had. So in my eyes, it's got to go both ways. If the owners can opt out of the contract and just shred it up, then the players should be able to do it too. If not, then both sides should have to, play by the same rules, I guess, for the contract.
J-Mac, what do you think? Do you agree with what Big B's saying, or what?
I mean, to a certain point, but it is a job. I mean,
What?
so if I walked into my manager, my district manager's office tomorrow and said, you know what, I know I signed up to run this store, but I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm telling you right now that you're going to put me in this other store, and it's starting today, and you don't have a choice. You have to do what I say. Again, it's a job, so there is some bit of like, you signed this contract saying you were going to fulfill it, and I do agree with Brandon with Bulldozer's point of the owners being the same way. I think it should be transparent on both sides, but I do think that you sign a contract, you should stick to that contract until it's over.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think to where the biggest thing is here is Bulldozer. This is where I'm getting at. Okay, so. You're sitting here saying that if the owners are allowed to basically cut a player from that contract, release him from that contract, then the player should be allowed to do that too. And in a way, I kind of feel the same way, because if he signs like a 5-year contract and whatever else, I feel like he should have that opportunity to be like, you know what, I've been here for 2 years. I know I have a 5-year contract. I'm not happy here. I don't want to play here anymore. So I'm just going to void out my contract. I don't want to do it, and be able to leave that team. Because if teams can do it, then players should be allowed to do it at the same time. And so, I mean, honestly though, but then it might have caused a big debate, because then at times when you have certain people who go in and say, hey, trade me, but then the teams are going, no, we're not going to trade you. And they're like, okay, well, now I'm just stuck here because I'm under contract, so I can't do anything. So it's either sit out and don't play, or just show up and man up and play. And so in the end, though, if you're not happy, I think you should have that right to be able to be like, no, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm just going to void my contract and go on somewhere else. If you're not going to trade me, I think that the first thing should be, you should have to go in there and be like, will you trade me? And if they say no, then you should have that right to be like, okay, well, if you're not going to trade me, then I'm just going to leave. That to me is where you should have that right. But you should give them the first choice and be like, I'm telling you, trade me to get something for me. But if you don't, I'm gone.
I think you just open up a bigger problem though if you go in and say I want to play somewhere else. We've seen this in the NBA where guys are like, oh, I want to go play with so and so, so I'm trade me or release me or whatever, and I'm going to go play with them. And you start super teams. And so I think that one of the things, and I'm pretty sure it's the NFL we're talking about here for the most part. One thing that makes the NFL great is every year you have one or two teams that make the playoffs that didn't the year before because they either played together for another year or they went out and got some better players in free agency or in a trade or whatever. And so I think that makes parity for the NFL. I think that's what makes it so great. That's why everyone's dialed into the NFL. You make it where a guy can and exactly Dave Esparza made a funny comment about this, but I signed a 3-month contract with Coast to Coast to be the vice president. I want a promotion, or I'm going back to a terrible network. And I mean that's a funny way on the situation, but that's kind of how it is. Brandon walks into my office. I'm the owner, and he's like, "Well, I'm out of here. So you're either going to trade me or I'm going to void my contract." I mean, there has to be some holding you accountable for signing your contract. You paid an agent to do a job. He got you a contract. You don't like it.
Don't sign it.
I get that you don't like it, but then don't sign the contract if you're not sure. And to me, that's why you sign a 1-year, 2-year deal. Can I handle being here for 1 year or 2 years? And if I can handle that, then we'll see after that what's going on. So,
and the thing, with Ace's analogy of it, now you're taking out, now you're adding the factor that, can we trust this guy? Is this guy going to be loyal to us if we do sign him to a long-term contract, or is he going to opt out, after a couple of years? J-Mac makes a great point. 1 or 2 years. I mean, honestly, that's what I would do, is just sign a 1-year, 2-year contract, once I'm able to, because I know some of these contracts, you got to sign, like NFL, I think you got, 4 years? As
4
a rookie?
years.
Oh.
4 years as a rookie, yeah.
Yeah, so you're there for 4 years. After that, yeah, I'd probably do a lot of 1 to 2 year deals with a team. Just because everything changes in a couple years. I mean, we just had Mahomes and who am I thinking of? Tatis just signed massive 10-year deals.
Yeah.
What's the likelihood of them finishing out that deal with the current teams? I mean, Tatis is probably slim to none because unless they get the DH rule, but like Mahomes, I mean, yeah, he's phenomenal.
He'll probably
right
be
now.
there. He'll probably be there though. He'll probably stay with KC for 10 years. He probably will. But yeah.
But just real quick, I want to answer Randy Cox's question. So, do athletes get paid in a lump sum after signing the contract? Do they get paid yearly, and how does that work? So, they get paid a signing bonus, a roster bonus, if you will, that is paid up front. So, as soon as they sign, they get paid that money. The rest of their yearly money, and it's all incentivized, right? I mean, we hear that a guy signs for $84 million. Well, it's actually more, it's closer to $60 million, and that other $24 million is all incentivized by certain stats. So that's the first thing how it works. And then they get paid weekly by the game. And the way it was explained to me is you get it, and it kind of breaks it down. Like when we get a paycheck, they get the same thing, and it kind of breaks down what your taxes are, if you had any fines for that week, so on and so forth. So that's kind of how that works. So I hope that answered your question, Randy.
Yeah, and with the incentives that J-Mac is talking about, because there might be questions out there about, exactly what incentives it might be. But, let's say you're a defensive player, and they might say, if you get so many sacks this season, you get an extra $1 million. If you get so many tackles, we'll give you an extra $1 million. If you play so many snaps, we give you an extra $1 million.
That's how contract should be.
Yeah, if you win a playoff game, then we give you a bonus. If you win the Super Bowl, we give you a bonus. And so it's just these little incentives that are there. It's to basically show you, hey, you're going to be loyal and you're going to put your 100% effort out there because you want to get that extra money.
Yeah. And that's how contracts all should be incentive based, no matter if it's a 1, 2, 12, whatever year deal. Now, maybe I'm thinking too hard about this. Didn't Jerry Jones start the whole signing bonus when the NFL started doing their salary cap to help them
Yes.
sign players?
Yeah,
Okay,
he did.
that's what I thought. So, Randy
Jerry Jones
Fox,
started a lot of things.
yeah, yeah. So there you go, Randy. Your guy's the one that started all this salary
Which
cap issues.
he did say it cleared it up. So I'm glad it cleared it up. I'm glad it answered your question. You are welcome on that. But
Yep.
so with that, it sounds like we're kind of split here a little bit to where we agree that players should be allowed to opt out. J-Mac, you're saying no, not really, that they shouldn't be allowed to.
Somewhat. Somewhat. Like, I think maybe more incentivized. So situation. I give Brandon a contract and I call him in the office and it's like, we signed you and you just haven't performed the way we thought you were going to. So tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give you an option of you can opt out of the contract and be a free agent, or we can release you and you can be a free agent. And it's basically like, what sounds better to you? Was it on my terms or mutual parting or whatever? I could see all that. I just don't think you should be able to walk in and be like, I'm out of here. Get me out.
Well, no, and I like actually Ace's idea where a player goes in and goes, hey, it's not working out for me here. Trade me, or, let's talk about
Right.
opting out and, let's go elsewhere, so.
Yeah, because I think that the team should get the first decision. So you should go in there and put it on the team first and be like, I'm giving you a chance to trade me. If you don't trade me, then I want to opt out. But I want to make sure that you can at least try and get something for me first. And if you can't, and if you decide not to, then I'm out. And so Davis Spars is saying, I think it depends if said player had outplayed his contract, then definitely yes. He should be allowed to at that point.
And I don't disagree with that. I don't.
Well, that's the whole thing.
But I think you got to have rules. You got to have something set, because you can't be a guy that comes in. I sign a 1-year deal 3 games into the season, and I'm like, oh yeah, I lead the league in touchdown reception. So you're gonna trade me to a Super Bowl contender, or you're gonna release me so I can go sign with whoever I want. I think that not giving that much power to them is really where it's at.
No, I think it would have to be after maybe a year or two. Let's say you sign like a 4-year deal, and then after your second year, you're like, yeah, this just isn't working out. So I want to be able to leave.
That's the way that most basketball contracts were up until here recently. Is they would sign a 4-year deal with the 5th-year option, and it was a player option in the 5th year where they could say, you know what, I don't want to come back for a 5th season. And I'd be down for something like that. I'd be down for taking your contracts and making them 2 and 2. Like after 2 years, you get to decide, do you want to stay with this team or do you want to move on? And I think maybe moving the contracts, changing the way the contracts are written, and that is probably a step in the right direction.
Yeah, because right now, where the players had the options in the NBA before, the NFL now, it's especially for rookies. You sign that 4-year deal with the team getting the 5th-year option on whether they want to pick you up. And so
I don't think that's right.
So okay, so with that, do you think that should be on the player, whether the player decides to come back?
I mean, it really should be both. I mean, you're committed for 4 years, okay. Now we sit down before year 5. Do you like it here? Do give me an opinion on what your status is or what you're thinking. If I don't agree with the way that things are going, I'd like to walk away. But if I agree things are going the right direction, I'm performing and helping you guys win, yeah, I'd like to stay. But, I don't think it should just be a 100% that the team can offer that. I mean, granted, if I'm performing good, the team's going to want to keep me. So
Absolutely.
If I'm performing good, the team's not performing good, what's the incentive of me staying there, where I can go somewhere else? So.
All right. Well, everybody made excellent points here with this topic, but I must say, Big B and J-Mac, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. And okay, no. So we're going to go on to our next topic, which is basically J-Mac's spotlight player. So J-Mac, who's your spotlight player tonight for us?
Well, you know, you do. Some guys get lost. Let's say this. So you look at different players and you try to remember different players. It's really hard to remember maybe every player that's ever played for your team. And we all had childhood heroes and all that, you know. And so sometimes those guys kind of get lost in the shuffle. And you think, was that guy really as good as I thought he was when I was a player? Do you have anyone like that, Bulldozer? Is there a guy maybe that wasn't as great as you thought he was when he was playing? Have to go back and look at his stats.
You know, I guess for me, Gary Gaetti or Greg Gagne, shortstop, third baseman for the. Gagne was shortstop for the Twins, and Gaetti was first or third baseman for the Twins. So, you know, those guys kind of jump out at me because you know I grew up watching them. You know, so it's like you know even Ken Herbeck, you know, Minnesota boy. You know, he's big here, but yet in MLB eyes, you know, he's nothing. He's a blimp on the radar. So, I guess those three guys would jump out right away to me.
Yeah. Well, so to me, I remember keeping an eye on a guy when I was a kid, even though I was a Braves fan. There was a player for the Kansas City Royals that I thought was really good. It was a pitcher, and it seemed like he was in the Cy Young race every year, that he was an all-star every year. Towards. And then I started looking back at his numbers, and he was good, but he wasn't great. And
talking about Saberhagen?
I am talking about Saberhagen. You got that one. Yes.
Yeah, I actually kept my eyes on him too. I thought he was pretty good too.
He was good. I mean, he did win 2 Cy Youngs, so let's not beat on that. That was good. He did pitch a no-hitter in 91. Yep. But you look at his career numbers and they just weren't that amazing. He was 106. He had 167 wins in his career. That's not that many. Nope. And he had 117 losses. And his ERA was 3.34. So this guy that you thought was amazing really was not as good as you thought he was. But will he make the Hall of Fame? He will not make the Hall of Fame. He's in the Kansas City Royals Hall of Fame. And again, Brett Saberhagen is the spotlight player just for the things that he did. He made it seem like he was a little better than he was.
Didn't he throw like a 3/4 sidearm? He wasn't strictly over the top. So
he wasn't straight over the top, no. Yeah. But again, he did have a couple of great years for sure, and he actually had one year where he had more wins than he did walks in a season.
That'd be an ace on anybody's staff today.
Right, 14 wins and 13 walks in 1994. So, nice. I mean, that's that's an accomplishment that will never ever be gotten again. I mean, maybe with DeGrom. Yeah, I knew you were going to go there.
DeGrom's almost everybody's answer right now to this might not happen again. Well, DeGrom.
DeGrom. So Brett Saberhagen, great career, but not Hall of Fame career, but a good overall player, but not great.
I bet you he'd be considered for the Hall of Fame nowadays if he had those numbers in today's game.
Yeah. So speaking of pitchers. And speaking of, because you mentioned his name in Jacob deGrom, before he left injured tonight again, the guy just can't stay healthy. He just can't. That's his biggest knock. But here is something that I saved because I wanted to bring this up tonight. That I'm like, this is absolutely disgusting. So Jacob deGrom this season, 4 earned runs and 6 RBIs. Only pitcher with more RBIs than earned runs in 11 start span since 1920. He's drove in more runs than he's allowed earned runs.
And he's batting 4 or something too? I mean,
Yeah, and 10 consecutive starts with 1 earned run or fewer and 5+ innings. Tied second in MLB history. The only person to beat him out was Bob Gibson with 11 in 1968.
Yeah.
And then the opponent's batting average against them is a .121, lowest in 10 appearances of a season since 1901. And then 0.53 WHIP, lowest over 10 start span since 1900. That is the type of season this guy's having. But I couldn't believe the one stat I could not believe, he drove in more runs than he's allowed. As a pitcher, that is insane.
Yep, it sure is. So I brought this up yesterday on my show on deck. I want to get your guys' opinion on it. Could this be the first year in the AL and NL that the MVP and Cy Young are both pitchers in both leagues?
No, I don't think it will be.
With Ohtani in the American League and DeGrom in the National League.
I don't think it will be. I don't think DeGrom would get the MVP only based upon how healthy, or I should say unhealthy, he's been. Because he can't stay healthy. And so I think due to that reason, I think that's why Jacob DeGrom will not get MVP. Will he be able to pitch enough innings to win a Cy Young? He probably will, as long as he can stay healthy. But that's a big if, because he's constantly getting hurt. And J-Mac, you can go ahead and give your take on that.
Yeah, I don't think he'll win the MVP, but he's definitely. I mean, the Cy Young's already over. I mean, they got 21 starts left, approximately each for all the aces, and the Cy Young's over in the NL. It's not even close.
Yeah, I think I read that DeGrom would have to give up like 50+ runs from here on out to even get back over to the 1 ERA.
I believe the last time I looked, it was with 21 starts left in the season, he would have to give up at least 4 earned runs in 5 or less innings for the next 21 starts.
Yeah.
For his ERA to end up over 4 for the season or something. Some ridiculous number like that. And it's something he's only done 3 times in his entire career. So.
And it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and we'll jump into our final segment of the night, which is finally our baseball GM game, because I know people are super excited about this. So Big B, Big B, you go ahead. You start out. You tell everybody who your team is, division by division, and where they are ranked.
So I got the Baltimore Orioles. Last week they're last. This week they're last. So no change there. Got a point there. The Royals, I guess my most consistent team. They had 3 points, or in third all 3 weeks that we've done this. And so had the Los Angeles Angels. They've been in fourth for the 3 weeks. So Philly has now was third last week. They're second this week. So I gained a point there, or 2, I think. No, 1 point.
You gained 1.
But then I lost it with the St. Louis Cardinals because they went from third to fourth. And then we got the Rockies, who are consistent. They're in fourth. So, yeah, I think I miscounted. I might be at 16 points. I wrote down 13, but I could be wrong. Or 14, because I think I forgot Baltimore. I think I got 14 points.
So if this tells you how horrendous, Brandon, how bad some of your teams are, you have the Baltimore Orioles that have given you 1 point so far, and they are 12. Technically 11 and a half games out of fourth place, away from the fourth place team. 11 and a half games.
Oh, I know how bad they are.
And then you have the Kansas City Royals, which you've said have been your most consistent team, and they have lost 6 straight games.
Yep, but that just says how bad fourth place is, because nobody's getting ground on them.
Yeah, it's the Detroit Tigers, so that one's staying kind of consistent. And then you have the Los Angeles Angels, like you were saying, they have lost 3 straight games. But you got to think, the person that's behind them in 5th place is the Texas Rangers, and the Rangers aren't catching them anytime soon.
Yep.
All right, so J-Mac.
At least I don't have the Diamondbacks.
So this one goes to J-Mac here.
Well, I'll talk about the AL because I actually have some points on that side. I have the Red Sox who have 4 points. They're only one game out of first, so I have an opportunity to take over first there. In the AL Central, I have the Twins, 1 point there. And then I have the Astros in the AL West. They're 2.5 games out of first place. And so 4 points there. So I have 9 points in the AL. Then we go to the National League. And if I didn't have the Mets in the National League...
You had 1 point, 2 points, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the Mets got me 5. And then you go to the NL Central, I have the Pirates, who, by the way, you have the Cubs. So let me listen to this ridiculous bullshit, is you have the Cubs, the Brewers, the Reds, and the Cardinals that are all 3 games within each other for first place. And then you have the Pirates, who are 14.5 games out of first place. So they are not getting out of 5th place.
Nope.
They have 23 wins. And then you go to the West, and it doesn't get much better there. I remember when we said this, and I'm like, I have the Diamondbacks. It can't get any worse. You guys are like, well, they could, the Rockies. The Rockies are 7.5 games ahead of them for 4th place. Okay, and the Diamondbacks have 20 wins. 20. They're 20-48, 68 games into the season. Their run differential is minus 84. Okay? They have lost 12 games in a row. 12.
And I think I just saw something. They lost 21 straight on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Their winning percentage is .294. Okay.
Okay, but
they're 22.5 games out of first place.
But is there a but? I mean, come on, Ace.
No. I was gonna say, but at the beginning when we started talking about this, we all thought that the Rockies were gonna be in last place. We did. We talked about this. We're like, no, it's gonna be the Rockies. But now the Diamondbacks have, well, they've proved us wrong on that and been like, well, no, you're saying the Rockies? No, we're gonna come out and be in last place. So, J-Mac, I feel for you because I'll tell you right now, the Pirates, they're not getting out of 5th place, and the Diamondbacks, they're not getting out of 5th place. Not only has the Diamondbacks lost 12 straight games, but the Pirates have lost 10 straight games. So
yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, but he has a shot to gain a couple first places there, too. So
yeah, but 2 teams that J-Mac has on the NL side, in their last 22 games, they're 0-22. So his teams are not getting out of there. So how many points do you have altogether, J-Mac?
16.
Brandon, you're making a comeback.
Yeah. Thank God he's got 2 of the suckiest teams in baseball, or 3, I guess, if you count the Twins.
Yep.
Yeah, but the good thing for the Twins, though, is that they're only a game and a half out of 4th place. Or 2.5 games out of 4th place. So.
And they are getting healthy. So, I mean, there's part of me that, as a fan, I want them to start doing good, but for this little game, it's like, yeah, I kind of want them to stay where they're at, though, so.
All right, so now we'll jump over to me here, which, some of my teams, you guys were saying that, my teams were good, but some of my teams have kind of been in a free fall. And so when we start with the Yankees, okay, the Yankees have not been playing spectacular. The Yankees are 35-32. So right now they have 3 points for me at the moment. They are currently 6 games behind the Boston Red Sox for 2nd place. So, I still have a chance with the Yankees, but honestly, if they don't win, I'm okay with that because I don't like the Yankees, so I'm willing to miss out. I'm willing to miss out on the points on that one. So 3 there. But I do have the Chicago White Sox, who have me currently 5 points because they're sitting in 1st place. They're 4.5 games ahead of the Cleveland Indians. So that's a total of 8 points right there. And then I've got the lonely Texas Rangers, who are sitting in last place. So with the Texas Rangers sitting in last place, they are 8 games out of 4th place. 8 games. And they're behind the LA Angels. That's 1 point. So that brings me up to 9. And then we jump into the National League. I have the Miami Marlins, who for a majority of the season had either been going from 3rd to 4th They are now in 5th. So they now have 1 point for me so far. They're now 2.5 games out of 4th place, but they have me 1 point. So now I'm sitting at, so that is now, see, I had 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 points right there. Then we come to the AL Central. I've got the Milwaukee Brewers, who are actually tied for 1st place, but they're sitting ahead of the Cincinnati Reds right now, or the Chicago Cubs. Sorry, they have the tiebreaker. So that's 5 points there. So that puts me at 15 points. And then I have the LA Dodgers, who are sitting in 2nd place. And so that puts me at 19 points right now. So currently I'm sitting in 1st with 19 points. But that doesn't mean that can't change.
No. I looked this stuff up about the Diamondbacks, by the way. Do you realize that they're 1 game away, from having the longest losing road streak in baseball history? Not even since like 1900, all time. These are the longest losing streaks of all time. You have the Mets in 1963, lost 22 consecutive road games. And the 1943 Athletics also lost 22 consecutive road games in 1943. Okay? We haven't seen a team lose 20 consecutive road games since 1969.
All right, so Giants right now are losing, Diamondbacks are losing to the Giants 13-7, bottom of 7.
Right.
So that's 22.
You want to hear something about that game?
So that's 22, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Diamondbacks were winning this game 7-0.
No kidding.
I'm not kidding you. I just read it. They were winning this game 7-0. They blew a 7-0 lead. They had a 96.8% winning percent projection for that game.
Well, I guess when you're playing bad, you're playing bad.
No, they scored 2 in the first. San Fran came in the bottom of the first with 4.
Okay, it was last night, but still, I mean, come on.
Oh, you're right. I mean,
they were winning last night to the Giants 7-0. I mean, and then you still lost a game. By the way, It gets worse if you want to know. The Diamondbacks have lost 35 of their last 40 games in Major League Baseball. Their last 40 games, they are 5-35.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. And this is the thing too. Somebody was actually saying this and said, "What if you had the worst World Series? So let's say you took the 2 worst teams and you put them in a World Series, which would technically be overall records right now. I guess you could classify Baltimore, but let's say you did Pittsburgh versus Arizona."
Hey, who in the hell would watch that?
Well, even if you did a traditional World Series,
right now, you name me without looking it up. You name me one starting position player for either team.
The Pirates. For Pittsburgh, you have Adam Frazier. Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
Really, Adam Frazier.
I knew that one.
Yeah, it would not surprise me because Adam Frazier should definitely. He got voted for All-Star because
that's right.
the dude,
we'll talk about
yeah, the dude's great.
Okay.
Like Adam Frazier is their leadoff, and all he does is get on base. Okay, but then for the Diamondbacks, you have Nick Ahmed, and then you have Peralta for the Diamondbacks. But it doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm just saying. But other than that, no, you don't have any of the superstars. Like you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's what we got into last night. Just quick, I know we're running time.
Mm-hmm.
With the All-Star game coming up, should there be one representative from each team? It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough if they deserve it, but obviously, if your best hitter is batting like a 240, then no.
Yeah.
But all right. But that brings us to the end of our show. I know Jason every week looks forward to going over his NL teams because they're just so stellar with his NL teams.
If the Mets fall off, man, I'm done. I mean, if the Mets fall off, I'm done. Because in the NL, I'm getting 2 points out of the Central and the West.
Yep.
2.
And-
I'm guaranteed 2 points. So if the Mets pull a Mets like they always do every year, and they fall off and end up in 3rd or 4th place, I'm gonna get like 4 points in the entire league.
So
and that comes up to Wilson's comment. Do you think DeGrom has 21 starts left in him for this
No.
year?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not this year. But
I'd say
what I'm
15.
saying though, so it sounds like J-Mac has no confidence that the Diamondbacks and Pirates are going to get out of 5th place anytime soon.
No, they're not.
So he's going to end up with 2 points for those 2 divisions there, and so sorry, man, that's how it's going to happen. All right, but other than that, Big B, I'll go ahead and start with you on this. You got 30 to 45 seconds to go ahead and wrap up and say whatever it is you got to say.
It's been a great week so far for the network. Thanks for everybody that's chipped in, viewer-wise, sharing, liking. We're just having a stellar week this week, and looking forward to still growing as much as we can, as steady as we can over the next weeks, months, years, wherever this takes us. So, thanks again to all our viewers and all our good hosts and moderators and team that we got for Coast to Coast.
All right, J-Mac, this one comes to you. You got 30 to 45 seconds.
Thanks for watching tonight. Tune in Friday. We're going to have the Four Bros Radio Show after 9 p.m. at night because we have to for FCC regulations because we get a little risque on that show, and that's just how it is. And tune in Friday night. It's going to be a special episode. We might go longer than we've ever gone before. And tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we thank y'all for watching. We thank y'all. We couldn't do this without you.
And then, of course, last but not least, tomorrow, which is Thursday, you will have an episode of Smells Like Hope. And then, of course, tomorrow night, if you did not get to watch the episode of Speak Out, which we normally do on Thursday, we did it Tuesday, but we're going to re-air that episode tomorrow night. So if you missed it, you can watch it again tomorrow night and listen to the takes that Trey and I had made. And then towards the end, you'll even see Isaiah and Callan who jumped on there and gave their takes. And then, of course, Sunday for Between the Ropes, we have another a special guest coming on. His name is Luigi Primo. He is another indie wrestler, so hop on for that wonderful interview. That will be at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So with that being said, I'm Ace, that's Bulldozer, he is J-Mac, and then, of course, backstage, we have Phil McCracken. So I hope everybody has a fantastic night, and we will see you again.